Okay, so for the intermediate version of this jam, basically all I was doing was, instead of using minor pentatonic scales exclusively, although I did use a little bit of kind of ninths and sixths in the previous jam, the basic jam, I'm using Dorian scales for all my minor 7 chords. So basically the 7-note scale, and again we came across this in the first jam, jam number 1, where we used B flat and D flat Dorian. In this case, over the D minor 9 or D minor 7, I'm going to use D Dorian, just a 7-note version of the scale. And for the B flat minor 7, I'm going to use B flat Dorian, and for the G minor 7, I'm going to use G Dorian. And by doing that, basically I get, as we did in the first jam, the sound of the chord plus all the extensions. Okay, so we've got the 4 chord tones, the root, the 3rd, the 5th and the 7th. In this case, a flattened 3rd and a flattened 7th. But we also get the 9th, the 11th and the 13th, or in other words, the 2nd, the 4th and the 6th degrees of the scale as well. So we can exploit many more notes over the chord, basically. And again, what's going to sound really great is going for that 13. The 13 and the 9 as well sound really, really great. The 13 is the note that makes it sound Dorian. So as you play the chord, here's my D minor 7, here's my 13. Gives me a very classic kind of fusionistic Dorian sound. So that's definitely a note to go for. Some other things I did, or other things you can try, within this, over the D minor 7 chord, particularly within this particular jam, because we're using D Dorian, we're using the key of C major. Now, if you know at this level, a lot of intermediate guitarists will know this stuff, if you know your diatonic triads from C major, you can also use those to solo with. So we can use C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor and B diminished. And that's going to sound really great. If we have the D minor 7 chord, here's my C major. And then if we go for D minor, E minor, so on and so forth. Those triads sound really great. So you can use those diatonic triads as well over this as opposed to just the scales. Okay, so we've got the Dorian, we've got the triads over each of those chords as well that you can use. In order to work out what those triads are, basically you just go down 2 frets from the root note of the chord, in this case D minor, goes down 2 frets to C. That tells you what major scale we're in or what key we're in, and then you can use the diatonic triads from that key. Now, for the B flat minor 7, if you wanted to do the same thing, what you can do is just find the B flat root note, go back 2 frets, which tells us we're in the key of A flat major, and then find the diatonic triads for A flat major. Then do the same thing for G minor. We go back 2 frets to F major, use the diatonic triads in the key of F major. Okay, that's going to work really, really nicely and give you a cool sound that's non-scalic, if you like, a little bit more kind of intervallic. Okay, you can also do some little bits of outside playing, again, sidestepping over some of these chords if you want to. Now, for you guys on the intermediate side of things, what I want to do is introduce you to the actual proper name of this scale that fits over this A altered chord, or A7 altered. When we play that B flat melodic minor over the A7 chord, but we start from the A root note, we get a mode called the A altered scale or A altered mode. Okay, now that mode's really cool because it basically creates this fantastic tension sound that leads brilliantly back into our D minor 7 chord. So again, you'll find that scale written out on the sort of PDF part of the DVD. You'll see that sort of written out for you if you want to learn it, obviously, but it may be a little bit more complex. It's not a scale you've sort of come across before, possibly, but don't be scared by it. It's not sort of a complicated thing in terms of its sound or its use. It's just that you maybe get sort of, you know, phased by the name or by the new shape. It's not a shape you might have come across before. So it sounds like this. And as I say, it leads brilliantly back into that D minor 7 chord. So I recommend that you get that scale under your fingers. Again, it's just a B flat melodic minor scale, but starting from the note A. So A to A, basically, as opposed to B flat to B flat, same notes. So if you're more comfortable using that basic kind of B flat melodic minor scale shape, feel free. Other people might want to use that A altered scale shape, and again, you'll find that written out so you can learn that. Okay, not really much else to say on the intermediate side of things, just again, the phrasing's maybe a little bit more rhythmically interesting. You might want to try for some kind of more interesting rhythmic ideas. But apart from that, it's just these extra kind of notes from the scales that you're going to be using. The other thing I'd try and recommend you do is try and learn all of those scales within sort of a relatively small part of the neck, maybe frets 1 to 9 to start with, 1 to 9, sorry, that was 7, and then sort of 5 to 12. So you've got a little bit less kind of jumping around going on. Okay, so enjoy it, and we'll have a look at the advanced jam next.